Anonymous, the podcast where everyone is welcome at the table, but of course, no one knows whose turn it is. This is Chris.
Hey, this is Anthony.
And this is episode 533, Best Bang for Your Buck Games. We'd like to thank all our Patreon backers for helping us unlock a brand new episode. Hey friends, we're back. And Anthony, for this special week's episode, we are talking about games that really do deliver because they are the best bang for your buck or euro or whatever denomination you're kind of dealing with.
That's true, yeah. For the 40% of you listening who don't have dollars, we are thinking of you.
Do people even use the word buck anymore?
I don't know.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, I mean, grandpa.
Best, we should probably say, best bang for your Bitcoin. How about that?
Oh, no. Boo. Gross. Veto.
Best bang for your cardboard money and or chit.
There you go. Metal coins.
They're metal coins. Best bang for your metal coins.
I dig that. I'm okay with that.
All right. Start the episode again over. I think we need to...
Yeah, just
rewind. Do that all over again.
Yeah.
Yes. That's more keeping with our audience. Metal coins. Best bang for your metal coins.
Yeah.
Until we do cryptocurrency, and then all that will be removed.
Boo. Boo.
I, for one, welcome our digital overlords.
I'm going full Luddite. Let's break it.
Oh, no.
Give me a hammer.
Go buy some more coins, old man.
Yeah.
It's all about us new kids and our digital currency.
Uh-huh.
It's really safe and doesn't fluctuate at all.
Yeah,
it's not owned by really weird people on the internet.
Yeah, just like actual currency. It's just all over the dang place.
Yeah. Well, for this week's episode, of course, we will be talking about those games that provide the most value for the least amount of money. I think that's what we could say. I think we'll agree on that.
Yeah, that's what we're asking people. We put this one out to the Voice of the Gamers. We got a bunch of responses from people, and everybody interprets this their own way. But for the most part, what do you feel you've gotten the most value out of? Whether it's a cheap game you play a lot or an expensive game that you play a whole lot.
Sure,
lots of good answers. We'll share our own as well.
Yeah, the Voice of the Gamers this episode. We're really glad to have everybody join us here, giving their opinions on all the social medias and especially on patreon.com, where you get the best bang for your buck, or coins, or crypto, or whatever it is that you decide to use to purchase. Trade sheep for wood? Huh?
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
See? I brought it back. Because patreon.com/BGA, that's our Patreon channel where we do extra content. So thanks to those Patreon backers, not only do you keep the lights on, keep the podcast going each and every week, but you get a lot of extra stuff on top of which.
Right.
So if you haven't already, check us out at patreon.com/BGA to find out how you could support BGA and get the best bang for your buck.
Indeed.
With that said, Anthony, beyond all the bucks that we are saving here to do all the tabletop goodness, we finally have some winners. It's now award season.
Ooh,
for tabletop games.
All right. The first awards, the big ones. What are they? Which ones?
Well, first up, as always, it's the Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Design, or also known as the Gamma Industry Awards.
Oh, boo. Okay.
Well, it used to be a lot more fun, and I don't want to make fun of it anymore because it's not fun in the way that you could laugh, ha ha ha, because Gamma Origin Awards were really known for trying to cram a lot of weird game categories, a lot of games into like spots where they didn't belong.
Right.
But since then, they've gone legit, and it's a lot less funny, but a lot more serious and deserving, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. The things actually fit the categories. They are often missing a bunch of games though, because it still comes down to which publishers are members of Gamma and also submit games for consideration.
Yes.
Because if you don't fit all those categories, then you're not going to get nominated, obviously. So occasionally you get a category where like, well, this is the obvious best game in that category, and it's not even nominated. And you're like,
sure,
fine. I guess that makes sense. But
yeah, a lot of these game categories and a lot of these game awards are regional, to be fair. Like Essen does their own thing, you know. So, well, just going to run through a couple of these in case people are interested.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun awards here. Do you want to run us through, Anthony?
Yeah, let's knock them out real quick. Some good stuff in here. So best co-op solo game, Marvel United Multiverse.
Okay, I
Sure,
have that. I
I
have
do
that.
too. I do. It's
In
more or
another
less.
universe, I don't have it.
Oh, very true.
See?
It's more or less the same as all the other multiverse game or Marvel United games, but
Yeah,
sure, it is a good co-op, so sure, why not?
yeah.
Gateway game Seaside from Heshit Board Games.
I think that one was one I predicted.
I haven't played it, so I agree. I will
Okay.
tailgate with you on that.
All right.
Party game went to Flip 7, which makes sense because it was nominated for the Spiel as well. So
Which Chris loves. I think it's more of a game experience than a game, but we already had that battle on a
yeah,
previous episode.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Heavy strategy game went to Endeavor Deep Sea,
Mm-hmm.
also nominated for a Spiel Award.
Yes, they might be cleaning up this year.
Yeah, I guess. Light strategy game is Fromage. If you want to make some cheese, light strategy
It's
cheese making.
it's on a wheel. It's I got to play it. We reviewed it previously. It's a very light game.
Yeah.
So if
Well,
it's
it
that
is a
category,
light strategy category, so that works.
it works perfectly.
Fixed constructible game, Compile Main 1.
Sure.
I've heard
I
a
know
lot
what
of good
that
things
is.
about this. I have not actually gotten a chance to play it, and the
Neither
Greater
have
Than
I.
Games got bought out, and I haven't seen it around.
The problem.
Randomized constructible Magic the Gathering Plumbero Collector Booster Box. I don't play Magic, but these cards are very cute because it's like their fuzzy animals doing magic set that they released.
Mm-hmm.
Miniatures core product, Star Trek Into the Unknown Federations versus Dominion core set.
Sure.
It's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And then we get into some like supplemental products that I don't think either of us would know anything about. So, not that they're not amazing, we just don't know what we're talking about. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff there for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, there are good games there. Marvel United's awesome. Endeavor Deep Sea is great. Highly recommend.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a bunch of special honors and awards from the Academy of Venture Gaming Arts and Design. So Richard Loomis has received a service award.
What's the Richard Loomis Service Award? It went to Michael
Yes.
Fondsmith.
I'm sorry, I was still reading at that point. Got it. Sustainability Award by Endeavor Deep Sea, and noted for its consciousness of environmental issues,
Yeah.
and its quality production that hopefully has not hurt the environment. Putting that out there, and then a bunch of really Hall of Fame nominees here, including a young man you might know, Anthony, Stefan Feld.
Oh yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him being in the Hall of Fame of anything.
I'm surprised he was not, added earlier than this.
Yeah, I don't know what they have in their Hall of Fame.
Well, they now have Stefan Feld.
They do. Yeah.
And they also have, now they've added Susan McKinney Ross, the designer of Quirkle, which was the first solo woman to receive the prestigious Spiel des Jahres Award.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal. Quirkle's a good game.
Mm-hmm. Codenames also has been added as well, and Time's Up.
Time's Up is fun.
Yeah, Codenames is a modern day classic for sure from Czech games.
Yeah. This is the 10th anniversary, I think they said.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a big thing at Gen Con.
Very nice. So congratulations to all the award winners. Well deserved. Great productions, great games. Really love seeing Endeavor Deep Sea come out there, and just really, really good time across the board. So,
yeah, it's a great game.
Sounds good. So again, we'll see more awards as the situation kind of arises, and we will get back to you with all that kind of fun stuff. But Anthony, before we go into all that fun stuff in a future episode, obviously there's a lot of stuff that's happening with BGA, especially a little conference that we're putting together this coming October. Maybe you could talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, we got Board Game Academics Conference, which we've mentioned a time or two. You might have heard us.
Yes.
We have coming up in October, we're going to be holding a 2-day conference at the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York, where we have almost 20 different academics, practitioners, and professionals presenting their research and their work and their case studies from across a variety of different fields. It's going to be amazing. We've done conferences the last couple of years. This is the biggest one we've done yet, at the best venue we've done yet, for this type of event. It's going to be amazing. So we're really looking forward to it. And you can still sign up. We have tickets available. If you go to boardgameacademics.com/register, you can still sign up. There are special rates for students and adjunct faculty, as well as K-12 educators. So if you're interested in coming, please check that out. If you have questions, shoot me an email, info@boardgameacademics.com. Happy to walk through any questions you have. And we're going to be posting our list of presenters here in the next week or so you can check that out on the website and see all the different topics that are going to be presented at the conference. So we hope to see you all there.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right, with all that said, let's get on to the episode, Anthony. Let's roll for preview.
Roll for Preview is a game that I literally have had on my, on GameFound, you can click the button and follow it. And they send you updates every month for 2 years before they launch the campaign. And so I've been following this one for a while because the artwork caught my attention, right?
Yes.
And it's from Ghost Galaxy, which is run by Christian Peterson, who founded Fantasy Flight Games. And so it was like Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation. It's a great game. Classic Reiner Knizia co-op. One of the first great Lord of the Rings games in modern hobby gaming. And I was like, cool, I want to see what they do with this. And it's not up yet as we're recording this, but when you guys listen to this, it will be up. It's up in a couple days after we record.
Yes.
And we're not the Confrontation is good, right? We've played it. It's a good abstract game. It's won plenty of awards over the years. There's been many versions of it. It's not a super complicated anything. It's a 2-player game, takes 30 minutes, right? Got kind of like a Stratego look to it almost, but smaller board.
Yes.
And you've got Shadow versus Free Peoples. It's great. I'm excited for there to be a new edition of it. I might even still back the basic version, right? But the reason we're talking about this particular game is that they have done something ridiculous and therefore funny. The Ultimate Collector's Edition of Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation is a giant wooden table.
Yes.
With a 3D landscape attached to the top, with little holes on which you can place your game pieces.
Yes,
and little trays that come out to hold your cards, and wonderful wood inlay all the way around with beautiful artwork. It has the One Ring script, the Elvish script around the base of the table. And it is ridiculously expensive. So
how ridiculously expensive could it be, Anthony?
Well, it is currently slightly less ridiculously expensive than it was originally going to be. So when they first put this up and they shared it, it was going to be something like $2,800. That's
plus
right.
all the things that go along with it, like $3,000 some odd.
$3,000+. Yeah, for a table, and it's a beautiful looking table.
It is.
Will the final version that you get in the mail look like this? I don't know. That's a prototype. And everybody made fun of it a little bit because it's what we do. And they took that feedback and they're like, okay, let's adjust accordingly. And they said, hey, you can now buy this table without the leg. Because apparently a lot of people were upset that they're like, I don't need a table with a leg. I can put this on a table I already have.
Sure.
And the result of that is now you can buy the table, or buy the Ultimate Collector's Edition, just the giant block of wood with the game on top of it and the trays and everything, for $2,100 plus shipping, which I think was included before. And then if you want the leg, you have to buy it separately. And I don't have that one in front of me. I think it was $500 or $600 additional.
Sure.
So all of this I just find amusing. Not necessarily good or bad. If you have that money to spend and you're happy to have this and you have space for it, all power to you. I just think this is, what are we doing? To jump the shark. Talk about jumping the shark, right? We say that every year, hey, look at this one. They went crazy. I don't know that you get much crazier than a $3,000 table that is only good for playing this game. I mean, maybe you could take the terrain off and just use it as a regular table. I hope so. I really
That would,
hope so.
yeah, it doesn't seem that way, but it would be great if it was.
But it doesn't even look that big, right? The game, I don't know how big
No,
these pieces are, but it can't be that big, right?
no, I can't imagine it being a very large table. This is certainly something that you would need, and again, it does not come with the game. Two very small chairs that would have to go along with this, because if we could just visually take a look at the board, we can get a sense of the scale of this whole thing. It cannot be that big. This is not a table like you think a table.
Yeah.
This is like a little cafe table, like outside of a bakery, where basically it's meant for like one person to kind of put like a coffee and a Danish or something, right? It's not much bigger than that, right? It can't be. You can't put your arms or elbows or hands
Yeah, I don't
like you.
know. I mean, not the way they designed, like prototyped it, right? There is no space for anything. You are sitting up back off of it.
Yeah, there's no way to kind of put your chair necessarily underneath it, but also that one leg that's holding up the table, again, gorgeous, right? They have
Gorgeous, yes.
the
Very
writing
pretty.
the writing of the ring on the bottom base of the table, and the leg of the table that's kind of rising up doesn't even look particularly secure. This is not like a four-legged table.
No, which is the reason
So,
why I think it can't be that big, right? Because if it
yeah,
was that big, it would be very heavy, and you don't want like a single leg.
sure.
It's cool looking. Like the painted, sculpted board looks amazing.
Yeah, a lot of embellishments throughout the whole production here.
Yeah, because like I have War of the Ring, and I have like I've purchased over the years like a Mordor and the two towers, and a couple of the different fortresses that can go on the
Hmm.
board just to add some depth to the table.
Yes.
And it's really cool, but there's like 4 or 5 of them. This is like a
Yeah.
whole like map of Middle Earth with all the different points of interest. I think they said 30 of them. That's awesome. I just for $3,000. I don't know.
I
um,
mean, obviously, in a perfect world where money isn't really the issue, so to speak, and you could just own the stuff that you would really like to own, I could see you know, I could see a place for this. I could see an overproduction for every game, right? Because there are people who love and passionate about every game out there. For example, Spirium, Anthony, right? Like,
yeah. Give me a
yeah.
well, not $3,000, but give me an expensive version of Spirium. I'll buy that.
Well, like I'm saying, like I think every game I think most games deserve a lavish, high level production that you can bring to the table, or I don't know, be produced as a table, right? Again, in this kind of weird alternate universe, multiverse, where there's a museum or a play area where all of these games are overproduced, and they have their own physical setup table that fits perfectly what they play. Talked about this recently. Like a game table is amazing, but a game table that's, I don't know, 6 to 8 feet long and 4 or 5 feet wide is not an ideal situation to play every physical game possible. So the idea that the game is crafted and then the table kind of works around it, great. Um, but what kind of is a little weird and upsetting about this is that I think people are going to, and I think this is just generally what we do, judge a book by its cover,
Mm.
and they're going to see this lavish production and assume that the gameplay is as lavish and wondrous and complex and enriched, and it's just a very straightforward game that really does not need or warrant this kind of production, especially at this cost, at $3,000. And I think a lot of people are going to look at the production, love Lord of the Rings, pick this up, get this home, and go, that's it.
Yeah.
Like a $3,000 version of anything is almost going to feel that way. But I think this game, which you and I have played extensively and do like, it seems like people are setting themselves up to be disappointed.
Yeah. I, we'll see. I mean, again, it is a good game. It's not a great game. It's fine. It's a Reiner Knizia abstract kind of bluffing game. It does some cool things, but it's not lighting the world on fire. But if you live near me and buy this, let me know, because I definitely want to try it out. I want the table. I want to try the table. I'm sure the game's the same, but I want to try out that table. So.
I know, no. We don't do this very often, but I might request a review copy of this. Just saying.
You ship this
I
to
mean,
my house? Ship
It
to my
seems to
house.
be the way to go. No, I mean, I would have to have an armored truck to transport this to your
Yeah, right.
house. If there's an armored truck, then yes,
Yeah.
I will bring it to your house so we can
They're
take
like,
a
all
look
right,
at
we'll
it.
send you a copy, but you have to pay for shipping. $800.
How many armed guards come along with this? Because the production is beautiful. Who again, this is just pictures. This is not necessarily a. I don't know if it's a fully realized production. And obviously, when this kind of eventually opens, there should be a lot more content and material. So if you love Lord of the Rings, this is definitely something to check out. If you love lavish productions, it's definitely something to check out. If you love the spectacle of a company just trying to, with all of the gusto possible, break the bubble of the industry, you should also check this out.
Yeah.
Because again, even the shipping alone, because of all the tariffs and the shipping costs, I mean, this has got to come in a crate, a
Yeah.
very small crate, but like to pack something like this, the delicacy of this,
Yep.
yeah, that's the thing, man. Welcome to the new age.
Yeah. The ridiculous age where like 12 people could afford the new thing.
It's almost like it's only could be afforded by like the rich oligarchs
Mm,
and the
possibly.
royalty, the very fancy people of the world.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our roll for review, Anthony.
Oh, great. Great.
See what I did there?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's talk
What are we talking about this week?
Obsession.
Yeah.
Obsession.
Oh, like me being obsessed with this game that I cannot
Yes.
afford.
Moving on, man. Moving on.
And yet the only people who could afford it are fictional and exist in this game.
Right. Yes. Yes. Dan Halligan's classic Obsession. So we are talking about Obsession. Specifically, though, we're going to talk about the expansions for Obsession. We have reviewed this game in the past, I think twice. We played it at PAX way back in 2017. We played it again when we got our copies in 2018. And several expansions have come out for Obsession over the years, and we haven't had a chance to talk about them on the show. And over this past weekend, I traveled out to New Jersey and Staten Island, hung out with Chris. We got to play some games, and this is a game we played a bunch of with all this stuff.
Before we go any further, Anthony, remind the listeners out there, remind our good friends who listen each and every week, how obsessed I am with Obsession when we first played it.
Right.
I think it's something people need to know.
So the long fabled 2017 PAX.
That was a good PAX.
We learned a lot of games that year.
A lot of new games,
about
a lot of independent games. Yeah,
Underwater Cities, Smartphone Inc., Obsession. So many great games. It just Barrage. Yeah, that was that year too. And so this one in particular, and we played all those and we loved them all, but this one in particular, we played it very good. We taught it to ourselves because there was nobody around to teach us the game. And then immediately afterwards, we're like, let's go find a new game. And other people came to sit down at this. And we're like, where'd Chris go? He's disappeared. We turn around. He's at the table teaching these other people how to play the game. Like, okay,
yes.
Great. It's not a long teach. We'll wait for you.
Yes.
They're playing the game. Every 10 to 15 minutes, they have a question. You run over, you help them.
Yes.
Like 2 hours later, somebody else comes to play the game.
Yes.
And you're like, I know the rules. I'm like, dude, for reals? Like,
yes.
You don't work here. No, but it was awesome. You're like evangelizing this game we'd never heard of.
Yes.
Did not own.
Yeah.
Didn't even know how to get it because we played it. Like, that's amazing. How do we get this game? And we couldn't find it. And over the years, it has become like a big thing. Everybody knows Obsession. It's number 65 overall on Board Game Geek. But we were there first. We played this game early on.
Yes. I mean, nobody was playing it at PAX until we started playing it. Like, it was... I don't know if this was the one that was randomly recommended by somebody we knew at PAX. And it was just like, hey, have you tried? Yeah, we met somebody. We knew somebody who knew somebody who recommended... Again, I'm not sure if it was specifically Obsession or if it was the other games in particular. And there was a couple of games that were so different looking, like Smartphone and Barrage and Obsession, that like it would be easy to overlook them unless you knew better or unless you had an eye for, like, there's just something that makes sense about this.
Right.
So yeah, if you ever want to get Anthony angry, do that, because he was not happy about the thing I was doing.
Like, we have to get as many games in as possible.
Yeah, I was playing both. Look, I'm just like, my, a beautiful mind kind of thing where I'm working out 15 different strategies at a chess tournament. I'm playing
Right.
everyone's game at the same time.
Right.
And I'm winning the games, by the way. I had a winning streak at that. Ask Anthony about about Barrage.
That didn't count. That didn't
it did,
count. We all
I
stumbled
did
our
win
way
that
through
game.
the game. You won some version of that game because
I won
Josh,
a variant. I won a variant.
yeah. Who knows what he taught us? That was not how to play that game.
But to be fair, whatever he taught us, I did win that.
You did win what he taught us. Yes, that's
and
true.
I did not know that man. I did not come to it was
No.
like a magic trick. It was
No.
just like
I would have judged you harshly if you knew that man. Like
I did not know that man. I did.
This man was like, yeah, I could teach it. No, he could not.
No. Turns out, not so much.
No, not so
But
much.
Obsession. We're back to Obsession.
Yeah, so let's briefly go over what Obsession is, because we've been talking about it now for like 5 minutes, and some of you are like, what is the game, guys?
Yes.
It is about a well-respected but troubled family estate in the 1800s, Victorian England. So basically, you have status, but you don't have money. So you are trying to build relationships, move up, and bring in money. Classic Downton Abbey style.
Yeah, buddy.
By currying favor by the other influential families in the area, and ultimately trying to bring in one of the Fairchilds into your family. So over the course of the game, you are hosting activities in your estate. You're going to get these different tiles from the market. To do that, you're going to invite different guests to participate in those activities, and you're going to serve them with the various servants who live in your home, in your estate. To win the game, you have to do that as efficiently as possible. You get points for all sorts of stuff. You get points for the tiles that you've placed in your tableau. You get points for the objectives that you've completed. You get points for successfully courting the Fairchilds, which either of them you decide to court. And ultimately, whoever does the best of that and raises their fortunes the most is the winner of the game. It's a fantastic game. It mixes like tableau building plus worker placement and deck building.
Yes.
Which sounds like a lot, but it does all of them very minimalistically. Like they're all there, but it's not like this big sprawling thing. It's very targeted and it works very well. Everything kind of fits together nicely.
Yes.
Now, the thing about the game, at least from the original publication, the thing that the designer, Dan Halligan, wanted to fix is that there's a lot of randomness in it. So you have a big deck of cards. Whenever you get an ability to take a new card, you're kind of just taking it randomly from the top of the deck. There are some negative cards in there. They can hurt. They're hard to get rid of. The tiles come out randomly from this bag. So maybe you need a specific tile to complete an objective and it never comes out. And so you can't complete your objective, which can be very frustrating. So there's a lot of randomness there you have to work with. And the expansions are both designed to kind of address that, and they do it in different ways. So we finally got a chance to play with both of them, and it's interesting the different things they add, how they add them, what it does to the game, and ultimately whether or not we should keep them in the game is what we want to talk about.
Yes.
So first up, upstairs, downstairs. This is a fairly straightforward expansion. It adds 3 new characters, or 3 new servants. You have the cook, or 4 new servants, I'm sorry. You have the cook, who allows you to adjust your reputation, which is really important because there's sometimes you can't play what you need to play because your reputation, which is like a resource that goes up and down throughout the game, but you can't host an activity that has a higher reputation level than your family does, and you can't bring guests in that have a higher reputation family than your family does. So the cook lets you kind of adjust that a little bit. You have the head housemaid, who lets you screen through the cards if you play her to that activity, and which is huge because then you can draw 2 and look and pick one instead of just drawing one randomly.
Yes.
You have and I can't remember the name of it. It's like a little blue boy. But the little blue boy can fill in for the butler, as well as give you extra money by playing them to various cards. So just a little more flexibility with cash. And then the useful man.
The useful man.
Giant list of stuff that he does. And so he gives you extra money during Village Fair, which is an event that happens throughout the game. He also gives you the option to get additional was it tiles or resource or no additional money through certain things that you do. But my favorite thing that he does that helped me win the game on Sunday is that you can discard him completely from your hand, like just get rid of him, which is like giving up 2 points for the end of the game. And then you can't use him anymore. But you can do that and then pull any tile you want out of the bag and put it at cost 800 and then buy it. So I needed a certain tile to complete one of my objectives, which was worth 14 points. That 14 points was the difference in the game. And I will say Chris was very gracious and told me to do that because I forgot about it. And he would have won the game if he had not. So thank you, sir. He's like, wait, I did what?
No, I know what I was doing.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a friend to all friends.
Yeah, no, it was good because I mentioned that the tile had finally come out, and somebody else at the table also saw that, and he like cleared the market just to clear it. And I was like, boo.
Yes.
And then Chris you reminded me that I could do that, which is great. So yeah, it tweaks a few other rules. So now there's a draft for the servants at the beginning, so everybody gets an extra servant. There is an opportunity to kind of tweak some of the other rules as well. The player order changes a little bit. Some of the other things adjust a little bit. Ultimately, though, the goal of this expansion is just to get more things in there that mitigate the bad luck, right? So, like the useful man made it so I could get that tile I needed. The head housemaid makes it so you don't take all bad cards all the time. The cook allows you to adjust reputation. If somebody dings your reputation down enough that suddenly you can't do the action you want, she can adjust it up a little bit. So it's really great. Like, it's a really useful expansion. I think it's, the kind of thing the game needed, and it doesn't add a lot of complexity or any sideboards or any extra stuff. You just have these extra characters you can recruit, and you just have to remember what they do, which is not a huge deal. You can only have one of each of them, so it's not even like I'm going to stockpile maids and do this crazy thing. It's just like it's a little mitigating thing. It's a useful thing. I used all of them at some point throughout the game. The other expansion, which I'll run through here, is the character expansion. This is the newest one. And there are other expansions we're kind of skimming over here. Let's see, what else has come out over the years? We have the West expansion, which was the first one. This added a new family board. So just added some variability. It also added some more tiles and options there. And 5 additional starter guests. So it just added more variability to the start of the game. Didn't do much else. I think I've always played it with it mixed in, so I don't even think about it as an expansion. There was the useful box as well. So it had things like the extra gentry cards, some additional upgrades, and changes as well. Very small, little stuff, but it was good to have that in there. And then the character expansion, which was a Kickstarter campaign last year that, or the year before, I don't remember exactly when, but it came out, and this is the one that came with the metal coins as well. So you got the character expansion, you got the metal coins, which I did.
Nice.
And this one adds a whole sideboard element to it, and it changes the pass structure as well. Something that the downstairs expansion did, because normally what you'd have to do if you wanted to recruit new servants is take a whole action.
Yes.
Right. You get one activity per round, and that would be your activity, is to go hire things. But the deck element is you're playing these cards to send them to your activities, and then they go into discard pile. Eventually you want to pick up your discard pile, like in Concordia, and so you have to take a passing turn. The passing turn now allows you to recruit. So that it streamlines things a little bit. It gives you more flexibility and actions in the game. You're not using a whole round. You still can do that if you want to recruit extra. You can use a whole round to recruit, but now you don't have to. You just do it when you pass. The character expansion allows you to do more stuff when you pass. So in addition to recruiting, you can now invite these other characters. So there are 3 characters you can invite. First is Constable Bucket, little blue cop meeple. Constable Bucket comes to your home and will basically kick out anybody with bad reputation. So all those cards you have in your deck that are negative points, you can play them into your tableau that round. They don't give you any negative anything. So you can ignore all those negatives. And some of those negatives, like, you might have a card that's like, you lose 4 reputation, gain $900. Well, guess what? Now you just get $900 because you have the constables in the house, right? And then at the end of that, you can boot all those people out of your deck completely. So now you're not losing the points to go with it either, which is great. You lose 2 reputation. So thematically, everybody sees that there's a policeman in your estate, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on over there?" But it's not as bad, right?
Yes, definitely.
Then we've got Reverend Grantley, and the good Reverend. Remind me, what does the Reverend do? I used it once. Oh, the Reverend lets you swap out objective cards, right? So throughout the game, you're gonna draw new objective cards. You're gonna discard objective cards, but now there's a market of objective cards that you can swap your cards into. So if you see one you want, you can build towards it and then swap into it for 100 pounds, which is great. And then lastly, the most interesting one to me is the Eccentric Dowager. And so the Eccentric Dowager lets you take a card from her little pile of exiles that she's collected. And the exile cards are generally powerful, sometimes negative points associated, but they have powerful abilities associated with them as well. The downside of taking the Dowager is that you're not allowed to hire servants on that pass round. So you lose that ability to do that thing. So you kind of skip that step. But you do get an extra card, an extra guest to your hand, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think this expansion, and we were talking about this on the drive back after the game, but I think this expansion does some cool, interesting things, but they feel a little more tangential than like the upstairs, downstairs expansion, which felt necessary to mitigate those risks. How did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that the designer went back and was like, as we've talked about this previously, I'm just so blown away by his commitment to ensure that people really enjoy and love his game. It's sold at an affordable price. He's constantly interacting with the public. His crowdfunding is 100% reasonable, if not more beneficial to gamers. And these expansions certainly do a lot of the heavy lifting to resolve, problematic natures that people find. I never really found that was an issue whatsoever, because I think thematically, I think if you bring an American to your house,
right,
now more than ever, you deserve what you're going to get. So,
right, that is one of my favorite parts of the game. Like the characters that give you a negative reputation are often Americans, and
yes.
The only character you can't kick out with the constable is the American heiress.
Yes,
and I love that. It's very funny.
100%. And again, I think thematically that plays very well. And just as a game mechanic, and you and Anthony, we've played a lot of these games where it's like there's a plus and there's a minus. Like, oh, if you take damage, you could hit harder,
right?
Or if you take corruption, you could hit harder. So the idea that you would take somebody into your house for events and parties that would bring you money but lower your reputation is it's thematically smart, but gameplay wise, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate love, because I love expansions. I love the idea that designers go back and want to tweak and add.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those types of expansions where he went back to tweak and add in order to make the base game better. And again, I appreciate the upstairs downstairs rulebook kind of like revisions, because I think things were made clearer.
Yeah.
And so again, all props and things of that nature. And there's nothing here that's problematic to the game. I would say, again, if there's any slight I have against this, and I don't really have a big slight about it, is that it's too soft. It's a softer way of playing the game. And I like the tighter, more threatening nature of the negatives.
Yeah, I could see that. We were talking about this. Like the game feels a little looser,
yes,
as a result. It's a funny thing. I can see people playing this and you get mad, right? Like one of the people we were playing with the first time we played it a couple times, and the first time we played, he kept drawing negative cards. Like so many negative cards. He had like negative 20 points at the end of the game. And that's really frustrating, right?
Yes.
The expansion, and we layered in the character expansion in the second playthrough, that gives you kind of an out from that. And so I could see, like, in some groups they're like, yeah, let's give people the out. In other groups you're like, no, deal with it. Figure it out. Purchase the activity tile that's going to let you do that in a more complicated way. um I'm of two minds about it. I don't like people at the table having a bad time because of luck, but at the same time I kind of like trying to figure out how to get out of those situations. That's fun for me.
Yes.
So I didn't really use I used each of the special abilities once in the game just to see what they did, like the
Yes.
invited the guests. And like I used the constable at the end, and I think it swung my score like 12 points.
Sure.
Because I got rid of all those negatives and I got to use all of those negative cards without anything bad happening to me. And I was like, this is cool, but I'm the only one who gets to do it for 2 rounds. And it's the
Yes.
end of the game. And I'm like, I don't know. I think the upstairs downstairs expansion is necessary. I think it adjusts and tweaks enough of the things in the game. It adds a layer to the passing round that makes it better. So you're always able to hire at
I agree
least
with that.
3 times
Yes.
a game. Yeah, I think that's good. I like the additional servants. They're optional. You can ignore them if you want, but if you take them, they give
Yes.
you some flexibility. The useful man is awesome. Um,
Yeah, the
the
useful man, again, it's a little softer
yeah,
for the game because it lets you pull a tile. And again, one of the challenges with the game is you may not get that room or that festival or something for your tableau.
right. Yeah,
And there's a plus and negative to that, right? Like there's a gamble. Like when we played the first game of this, my objectives, my secret objectives, like I had to get like five specific tiles.
yeah.
So I had to build a strategy around getting those tiles, clearing those markets, making sure I was holding on to money for the right point, because maybe would have to pay an 800 pounds more than usual, but I had that money saved
But there's a
to be.
certain element of randomness to it, though, too. Like if the person after you in turn order pulls the tile
Yes,
you need and decides to burn it or buy it, and then the next one comes out immediately after that and they burn it or buy it, oh well. Like there's nothing you can do about that. You can't
there's
mitigate it.
nothing you could do about it, but at the same time, that's you could have taken, or you could have, again, since you do have so many secret objectives, you could have chosen an easier objective that gives you less points,
That's true.
but more likely to achieve. Because in that first game, I had objectives which was like have 11 workers or have one of
Mm,
every type of workers. So if you're going to gamble, then you're going to gamble, and loss is part of that gamble. So
right.
the negative people not hitting objectives is certainly painful, but I think you need that in that game. Again, sensitivities may vary. Like I think if I remember way back when we used to play Revolution with the exclamation point, it's that blind bidding game,
Right.
and people liked it, but people didn't like losing their bids. When they lost their bids, they lost all their tokens from those bids. Then they kind of instituted just a house rule that you got your bids back if you didn't win. That was an easier way to kind of like manage. But then the risk reward isn't as tight. It's not as dynamic. And I like the changes upstairs downstairs. I like the additional characters, although now you have to read and think a lot more. But I guess it's better because previously what the servants did was just activated a card or activated a part of your tableau, and now the characters actually have special abilities.
Right.
So I don't mind that, and like you said, it is not, and it's good because you have the passing thing where you could pass and you could just recruit,
Right.
which I love that because taking a turn just to recruit people, even though it does make it tighter, and I'm advocating for tightness in the game, I think it's a boring action.
Right. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I don't want to do that. The
yeah,
one thing we talked about too is like with all this extra stuff, the last 2 or 3 rounds of the game kind of felt perfunctory.
yes,
We played the long game. And so
we
if you're
did.
going to play with all those expansions, I think it would almost be better just to play the short game, um,
I agree.
to tighten it back up a little bit. Because like almost all of us had done everything we needed to do by
Yep.
like round 17, 18. And at the
Yes.
end, we were just trying to like peck off little points where we could. I'm going to buy a bunch of
Yeah.
tiles, and like if it makes sense to do so, and if they're worth more points than the money I'm spending on them.
Well, the conversation was specifically about that. What tiles could I buy that would give me points and not
Right,
negative? Because I'm not going to have time to flip it, or those tiles are not going to be valuable enough to flip
right,
to take that particular action. Because maybe you got an earlier tile. I do like
Right.
the fact that you get to see more tiles because the game goes longer, and there was some really cool tiles that came out.
Right.
Like those tiles, like I think it was like the Grand Ballroom or something, which takes I think it was 3 different colored
Oh yeah, yeah,
servants.
yeah. That was
That
cool.
was pretty cool. I like the fact that like it really just ramps up some of these tiles. And I think you needed like a 7 reputation to play it too, on top of everything
Right.
else. So
But
that was
but
pretty good.
yeah, but at the end there, like we had gone through that the casual guest deck fully once and a half times, and we'd gone through all the tiles in the builders market
That's
fully.
it. 100%.
So the casual guest deck was almost entirely negative cards because that's all that was left. All the stuff people had
Yes.
discarded, because you can discard all those cards pretty easily now. It was just a deck full of negative cards. And so at the end, the last 2 rounds, I put all my guests that would require me to draw a casual guest, and I put them aside. I'm like, I can't play these because I don't want to draw from that deck. And that feels
Yes.
counterintuitive to what the game is doing. It just feels like we've blown past the finish line, and now there's no
Nothing
road
else.
left.
It was boring.
Yeah, it's a
I
dirt road out here. What are we doing?
like, like here's a bunch of objectives. Like again, I think the objectives thing area could be tweaked a little bit too. And there is an option to use open public objectives.
The milestones, yeah.
So the milestones could be an alternate. And again, these rule books have, as I was reading them off to Anthony, an endless number of variations thematically.
I need one master rule book. It is very difficult to figure out how to play this game properly when you layer in all this stuff.
I had all the rule books laid out at one end,
Yeah.
including the promo stuff, and then on the other end near me, I had all the cards laid out, so I would have all the information possible. Although Anthony kept stealing my cards that I had nicely laid out for preparation's sake, but
it was right there.
I know it was right there. So these expansions, I would say these expansions are not necessary, but I think you can argue that they're an essential quality to really just expand the fun, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not essential because I think the base game is fine by its own, and I understand people have problems with the tightness of the game, and we did see that with one of the gamers at the table just suffering under the negative points, and then the following game there was a guy who just took care of all the negative points.
Yeah.
But yeah, good game, great game. I would I don't own the character expansion, but if I do have an opportunity, I will try to pick it up because I think it's cool to have, even though I don't think it's necessary, but I think it's still cool to have.
I think I'll keep them both mixed in,
Oh.
but I think I'll show people in advance, like if I'm playing with new players, like here's what this second upstairs, downstairs is just going to happen. They're just going to have to deal with that. But I'll show you like here's a sideboard and these extra things. Do you want to do this? Because I do feel like that adds an extra layer of complexity just in terms of what you can do, like decision space. That can make the game a little bit longer. Like our last playthrough with everything mixed in was like 5 hours long. So
Yes.
It's not meant to be that long of a game, but you end up with all these different options and all this decision space expands and you have so many cards in your hand. So, especially in a long game. I don't think that's bad. I think it's fun, but I think there would be situations in which I would not do that. So,
I agree. All right, well, there you go, everybody. I'll roll for preview and I'll roll for review. Now, on to our feature review, the voice of the gamers, Anthony. What are they talking about this week?
they are talking about how to get the best bang for your buck with board games.
Ooh.
Yes, BB.
That seems to be important in this time and
BBG.
place.
Yeah. No, we just talked about the confrontation table. That's
Yes.
not bang for your buck. It's cool, but it's not bang for your buck. So what games give you bang for your buck? What games are going to help you get the most fun out of them? You see those posts sometimes where people are talking about like the amount of money they spent per play. I don't do that myself because it would give me a headache and also maybe a stroke. I've played this game twice and it cost me oh no. But it's a lot of different ways that we all think of value in the things that we own or that how we play with them. So we asked everybody what they thought. Over on Facebook, we had John Pro, who said, "High society, lots of plays and plenty of laughs for a low-cost card game." So this is a very inexpensive game and probably gets played a lot. This was the first thing I thought of. Like, my copy of Skull King has been played. We've run through 2 different pads in it. It's probably been played 200 times. Game cost $20. It's pretty good value for money, right?
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. Gets a lot of gameplay. those trick-taking games definitely seem to own that kind of small card game, like best buck banging
Right.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Something you can throw in your pocket and just play all the time.
had a lot of
Um,
complexity to it too, considering.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew mentions Ticket to Ride, Rails, and Sails. It plays like
Mm-hmm.
classic Ticket to Ride, but adding in the ships aspect, it's almost like playing two games at the same time. Plus, it takes longer to play, so you get more Ticket to Ride fun out of each playthrough. So, a different way to think about it, like specifically like packing in activity into the same amount of time. I think it's an interesting way to think about it. So, like, this is a full game. It does a lot of things.
Yes, it's a good game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric mentions Runebound 3rd Edition. Not only do I love playing it, but I have spent hours upon hours making custom scenarios, adding in new characters,
Ooh.
painting figures, and more. So yet another way to think of value is like, how much do I do stuff outside of the game with this game? Do I paint stuff? Do I build inserts? Do I write stuff? Do I go online and help with strategy guides? Am I posting to the forums?
Yeah, we were talking about this with CCGs. The for me personally, like the greatest fun of a CCG is personally developing a meta for your deck and just going online and just figuring out the tweaks to that particular algorithm. That time investment, even though it's not game investment, is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Putting together your army or your deck, like playing all those attack wing miniature games and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay. Vagard says The Crew is one of the best trick takers out there. It has incredible replayability, depth, and interesting interaction for minimal investment.
Yes.
So another mention of the trick taking games.
Love it.
Michael says Nations. I've played it so many times it never gets old. Also mentions Galactic Cruise, having just arrived in February and only had a couple chances to play, but it's quickly becoming 1,000% worth it.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Yep.
Kevin talks about Forbidden Island, gives us a few bullet points. 1, fantastic quality of components to price ratio.
Mm-hmm.
2, a great way to introduce both hobby board games and cooperative games to people unfamiliar with either.
Nice.
3, accessible and engaging for a wide range of ages. 4, a variety of range of difficulty levels and layouts possible. And 5, a great game for when a quick play is desired, be it solo or multiplayer.
Very smart. I love the breakdown here, and that's 100% true. And what the funny thing is, they've had other versions of this game, like with the desert and ship and stuff like that. This is still, for me at least, the best version, the best forbidden version of a game by all the points that they stated.
Yeah. I love the inclusion too. Like, this game is worth it because it's something I can introduce to people, right?
Yes.
It has a long tail outside of playing the game.
And it has a toy mechanic that actually works too, which I love that about that game. Although the one thing I will say that I don't love about the game is the tin.
Yeah, the tin's terrible.
It just doesn't stack with everything else. That's
Mine's all
problem.
dented to snot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We got Max, who says A Gentle Rain, cost low, usage very high.
Oh,
Keeping it simple.
like it. Good vibe there.
Over on the Discord, a few answers on there. You can join the Discord. Check it out on BoardGamersAnonymous.com. There's a link there. You can join us. We have lots of conversations in there as well. Who Gaming 42 says that would be hard, seeing as my dad is a board game reviewer, but probably Shards of Infinity, the 2nd edition.
Nice.
All right, Zach. Who's your dad?
Yeah, Zach. Is it us? Is it one of
Is
us?
it me?
Anthony? Is it me? Oh no! This episode has so many plot twists to it.
All right. Tom Bombadil writes in and says, "Great question. There's 3 different ways I can answer this, so
nice.
You can use them as you see fit. 1, Deliverance is a game that I have played 97 times, and I paid $149 for it.
Nice.
So that's $2.32 per play. There's that breakdown we were talking about. Mentions Board Game Arena. That's an interesting mention. I've played 399 games. As a premium member, I pay $36 per year. I've been a member for over 2 years. $72 for 399 plays is insane bang for my buck. That's 18 cents per play.
Yes.
And then finally, he mentions, if you only count games I had nothing to do with production-wise, and you were not counting online games, then that would be Resurgence. I paid $60 for it, played 12 times. So $5 per play.
Like it.
All right. Butler Socks mentions Red Rising. Bought the retail edition at Target for $12. Good deal. Most played solo game at this point, it's less than 50 cents per play.
Okay. I hear that.
We have Weather, but in Space. Talks about Orchard, the 9-card solitaire game. Because it's so inexpensive, games take 10 minutes. You could play it on an airplane, so I've played dozens of times. And then on the flip side, talks about Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, because the base box has 455 hero combinations alone. So that one box got a lot of plays, and it's like $30. Finally, over on the Patreon, we had a few answers there as well. Ryan mentions Welcome to the Moon has been the best value for me. It takes the core Welcome to system and modifies it into 8 maps all in one game. And the maps have quite different mechanics. Even has a mini campaign to unlock a few things. John mentions Far Away, inexpensive, but with more depth than the game appears to at first glance. David says Star Realms, under $20, and I've played it 40 plus times. And Drew mentions Marvel Champions being the most played non-app, non-BGA game. The deck building and content additions make each game interesting without overwhelming rules additions. So, lots of different ways people think about this question. I think it's fascinating. I also had Marvel Champions on my list as one that I've just played. Like, I played each hero at least 2 or 3 times. So, dozens and dozens of plays of this game. Keyforge is another one. It's not really a board game per se, but I played it hundreds of times, and I don't own that many decks. In particular, I played one deck like 60 times, so it was like $10 for that one deck. So the few ways that I think about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to break it down. It really comes down to fun factor, and for me, fun is games that allow me to make interesting decisions. So the more games challenge me in that kind of perspective, those are the games I love most of all. And I'm just happy to play them. And again, if they're fairly inexpensive or engaging for a larger audience, all the better. So some of the smaller ones, which obviously are bigger bang for the bucks, like Love Letter, was something where it's a small thing you could throw in your pocket. Got a lot of play out of that. Seven Wonders, obviously a little bit bigger physically, but we've played that so many times because that was, especially back in the day, that was one of the few games that you could actually play up to 7 players. So if you went to a meetup, that was certainly something that just blew everything else out of the way. Like Seven Wonders plays any player account, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, and then again, you could talk about the other side too, where like the maximum enjoyment, like your favorite game, even though it's very expensive, and you even maybe get out like once or twice a year, like a TI4, still has a lot of just great value because it's an epic kind of gaming experience.
Right.
All right, well, everyone, there you go. Thank you so much to the Voice of the Gamers for hitting us up with all of your wonderful bangs for the buck. And for everyone else out there as well, we would love to still hear from you. And if you have not played these games, these are recommendation from your fellow gamers out there. So check these games out, play these games. If you see them out there in the wild, definitely sit down and enjoy them. And thank you again to everyone out there. Until next time, this is Chris.
Hey, this is Anthony.
And we'll save you all a seat at the table. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Hey there, Hugh from Podderation here, and if you like today's show, why not have a listen to the All Things Nintendo podcast? Hosted by Brian Shea, former director and Game Informer and lifelong games journalist, the show explores the ins and outs of gaming's oldest company and one of its biggest, featuring interviews, featuring reviews, featuring everything you want to know about the world of Nintendo. If you'd like to learn more, check out our website at podderation.com.